Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, why don't you like me? I got an email here from a guy who basically, he went out on one date with a girl, seemed to handle himself pretty well. It's obvious from the text exchange she was into him, but his limiting beliefs and his viewing himself as being unattractive and undesirable totally came through in his text exchange. So he's got probably 15, 20 different texts that he sent back and forth between the two of them, and you can just see the guy was doing okay. This girl probably would have totally gone out with him, but because he presupposed that he wasn't good enough, he literally talked her right out of liking him. And it's just sad to see, but this is what a lot of guys do. These are the types of things I used to do in my 20s. And when you do this enough and you get rejected enough, you start to realize it's probably not a good idea. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we're going to go through his email and all of his texting exchange here. Because I'm sure there's some guys and some girls that are out there watching this video that do the same exact kind of things. And it's a definite no. It's the quickest way to talk yourself out of somebody wanting to spend time with you. So the quote says, when you are trying to create attraction with someone who you want to date, it is inappropriate to seek the other person's approval by asking if they like you, if they think you are attractive enough for them, or if they think that you are their type. Why? This instantly communicates that you do not feel worthy or good enough for them, puts them on a pedestal they have not earned, and makes you look like a weak, butt-kissing celebrity worshiper. They therefore will have no choice but to agree that you're not worthy and reject you. Instead, you should come from the perspective and mindset of, I'm awesome and a great catch. Are they good for me? Should I give them the gift of my time on a date? This levels the playing field and causes them to treat you like an equal. Much better and a more superior way to go about dating. One creates attraction, one turns them off. And this guy did the exact opposite of creating attraction. The attraction was there, but he literally talked her right out of being attracted. He acted weird and creepy. And you got to understand, most of the guys that women encounter, they're the 97%ers. And women have been approached and beat over the head by so many guys with their dicks out, basically, metaphorically speaking, looking for approval, that when they get involved with these guys and they reject these guys, they become weird, they become creepy, and it scares them. So when you exhibit these behaviors, you're like, it instantly turns a woman off, and you're fucking toast. And you're going to see that's exactly what happens to this poor guy. So he says, Dear Corey, I recently discovered your channel, and I love the advice. I'm a 34-year-old male, and I'm going to buy your book. Buy the book already. And for those of you that haven't read it, you can either read it for free on my website by subscribing to the newsletter, or you can download a Kindle version or the iBook version, or get the paperback version. Underneath the email sign-up box, there are the two different links. They either take you to Amazon so you can get the paperback or the Kindle, or take you to the Apple Store so you can download the iBook version to your Apple device. Read it 10 to 15 times. Those are the basic fundamentals of everything that I talk about in these videos is based upon. You gotta learn the fucking fundamentals. He says, I'm going to buy your book because I get rejected all the time, and I don't know why it is that girls like me. So what is that? That's his belief system. I don't know why it is that girls don't like me. So that's his belief. That's the story that he tells himself. Girls don't like me. Why don't girls like me? So he's going around, everything he communicates is, why don't you like me? And he literally says that in his text exchange is one of the things he sends to her. I think it's all about the looks, and if you are not attractive enough to her, you can't do or say anything to make her like you. Again, that's part of his story. I'm not good looking enough, and it's eventually going to end in my rejection. They come up with all sorts of bullshit to make you feel bad. I also included a picture of me. I'm very introverted, insecure, and very shy. I'm also very rational and an atheist, if that is even relevant. I had one date with a Philippine au pair girl who was here in my country for 2 years. I met her on Tinder and arranged a date. We spent time together from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. And she even stayed over at my place, but on the couch. She insisted on sleeping on the couch. Well, hey, at least you got her back to your place that first night. And she spent all that time with you, so you must have had fun. Below is the chat log after the date. And that's where you fucked up, by the way, before I even get to it, because I've already read this. Which I hope you can make sense of. Oh, I will, trust me. Because I sure can't. The conversation was spread over 7 days because it always took her a very long time to reply. Dating is like a game of tennis, and you got to be patient. And you'll also see in the text exchange he wasn't patient. He didn't wait for her to reply. It makes you look needy, desperate, and like a fucking Fruit Loop. You're going to scare women when you act that way. Women have been approached and gone on enough dates with guys that act weird and creepy and stalkerish, and it freaks them out the moment you start exhibiting that behavior. Like, because most guys are like this, unfortunately. I'm aware that I act like a total pussy at the end, but I just wanted to get the most out of it and learn something for the next date and see if she could give me the real reason. You're wasting your fucking time, dude. If you're trying to ask a girl why she doesn't want to date you or why she doesn't want to go out, she's never going to give you a straight answer. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings, and plus she doesn't want to make you go psycho crazy and come after her. So she's just going to give you, send you in another direction and hope you eventually get the hint and figure it out on your own. So this is the first text that I'm going to read is what he says. So he says to her, "Let's go have sushi, all you can eat Thursday." She says, "Where is that?" And he says, "At UGC, the cinema center close to the station." And she replies back, "Sorry, I can't make it this Thursday because the parents are a bit busy these days. The grand opening for their shop will be this Saturday, so they're always home late. So I need to spend longer hours with the kids and even put them to bed. Maybe some other time." That's not a good response. Because if she really wanted to see you, she would have said, "I can't this week, but the week after is better. You want to plan something then?" But instead, she's like, "Maybe some other time, dude." She's like, take her roll, flying roll of a donut and... So he says, and now he sends 4 texts in a row. The first one, "If you don't want contact anymore, just let me know, please." Come on, man, seriously. Think about what you just said. You presuppose she doesn't like you, which obviously she's not digging you. But what I would do if a girl gives you that, well, maybe some other time, just say, "All right, have a great week." And then I would wait 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then text her again, try to get her to go out one more time. If she gives you the same thing, just say, "All right, give me a call when you figure out your schedule." And then he says, Friday. He says, "It was a few days later I suggested that." So she didn't reply. And then he says, "Can't really make it these days." And then he says, "Monday." And she says, "Yeah, maybe next week." When a woman says maybe, it means no. And he says, "Hey, I'm missing you a little. How are you?" And she says, "I'm good." And she says, "How about you?" And she continues on, "Maybe during the weekend, by next week, I will look at my schedule. If we could have sushi together. Just if you want to," she says. So I would say, great, figure out your schedule, get back to me, we'll plan something in. And you wait to hear from her. That's what you should have done in that moment, but you didn't. You continued on. "Well, I asked you, that would imply that I want to." "Yes," smiley face. And he says, "Silly." He says, "I love sushi." And he says, "And they also have other things at that place, like chicken and duck, like 100 different things." So he's like really trying hard. "Please spend time with me. Please spend time with me. You'll really like it." And then he says, "And you can eat as much as you want." Now you're like a little too nice guy. "Please spend time with me, Your Highness." She says, "Ha ha ha, LOL. You want me to get fat then?" And he says, "Yes, we'll stay until you're fat." That's actually pretty funny. That's a good comeback. I like that. So it was a good job in being humorous. So then he continues on, "Maybe best no strong beers for you, grin." He says, because she got drunk on their first date. And then he says, "You barely talk. You sure you want to go to dinner with me?" Come on, man. Seriously. Do you think James Bond would say something like that? Not going to happen. Of course, girls are getting in line to hang out with James Bond. And you're just basically saying, "Women don't like me. I don't understand why." He says, "I really like you, but I have doubts if you wanted to. or just said yes to do me a pleasure. Come on, man. I want to know you better. Chat some more. It's fun. And then she replies back, I was just shocked that you liked me that fast. Sorry to say that. So that tells me that she's basically saying, dude, you're coming on way too fucking strong. Slow your roll. Who knows? Maybe you were saying things like, I really like you. I want you to be my girlfriend on the first date. You had a couple drinks in you. There's no telling what came out of your mouth. And then he says, you are sweet and not pretentious. Good quality. I'm also surprised that you like me. Well, I hope you do at least. We seem both a bit insecure. Dude, you sound like a fucking teenager who is totally clueless. And he says, I can relate to that a bit. And then he continues on, are you taking good care of the kids today? And then she says, you seem like a good guy, but I think we can be good friends. So you went from she's interested in going out on a date to now it's, well, we can be friends. And she says, is that possible? And he says, friends, why? What is it that you don't like about me? And she says, you can say honest, my appearance, character, behavior. And she says, do I have to give a reason? In other words, it tells you right there, I don't want to be honest with you, dude. I don't want to tell you why. Because think about it. If she says, well, you're kind of creeping me out the way you're asking. You honestly think he's going to accept her explanation? He's going to be like a little boy. But why? You ever been around a little kid? Why is the sun up there? Well, because the earth rotates around the sun. But why? Because that's the way the universe is. But why? You're never going to take no for an answer. It's like women have been barraged by enough of those questions. It's better just to not answer. And he says, I would appreciate it very much. Very honest reason. I won't be mad or anything. I want to know what the problem is. And she says, you're too formal. And she says, sorry, plus you're smart. And he says, formal? You mean boring? She says, no, not really. He says, not spontaneous? She says, you're very spontaneous. He says, what do you mean formal then? And then she goes, hey, I gotta go. I'm in the city and I need to cycle back home. I just sit around the corner with free Wi-Fi. So now she's like trying to leave the conversation. She's like, all right, enough of this. Check, please. Get me the fuck out of here. And he says, and he won't let her go. And he's like, but please explain. I need to know. You think I'm not attractive? And what do you mean by too formal? She says, no, please don't get me wrong. You're such a nice guy. You're too formal, especially the way you speak. I'm below your level. I'm not good enough for you. You deserve somebody so much better. Women say that all the time. And then she goes, hey, I really need to cycle now. And he says, below my level? Come on, I don't believe that. Can you explain a bit more later when you're home? I really want to know. And she says, okay. Then he says, okay, thanks, drive safe. I think you were telling me all of this to avoiding having to tell me that you don't find me attractive enough. Because too formal makes no sense to me. Sorry, I'm just very insecure and I want to know why girls don't like me. Come on, man. Seriously. Think about that. Think about did you read what you wrote? When you text a girl something, you got to ask yourself this. Does this make me look more attractive and desirable, or does this make me look like a weak-ass douchebag? And his last one, any explanation is fine as long as it's honest. And he says, no replies followed anymore. What do you make of it? Dude, that's about as bad as it can get. You literally, even if you did have a chance, probably on your date, you said a lot of things and put your foot in your mouth. But it looks like in the beginning, you probably could have gotten her to go out with you again. If you just waited a couple of weeks when she said, maybe some other time, I would have given that 2 weeks, called her back one more time, and invited her out. And she either would have made plans or given you some excuse. And if she would have given you some excuse, I would have just said, hey, you know what? When you figure out your schedule, get in touch. We'll plan something in. I got to run. But dude, you literally talked this girl out of liking you. Never ever fucking do anything like that, man. You need to read the book 10 to 15 times and learn the basic fundamentals of what I teach. Even if you think you're not good looking enough or women don't like you, got to keep that shit to yourself. If you feel insecure, don't tell a girl that you're insecure that you've been out on one date with. That's not going to make you look like a catch. It's going to make you look like a fucking pussy. You're undesirable. A pussy. Like my Brazilian girlfriend used to tell me. A pussy. It's a bad way to go, dude. You can do a lot better now. Like, come on, man. You literally, that's talking a girl out of liking you. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.